bring in Red Apple Group, United Refining Company, and Gristedes Chairman and CEO John Catsimatidis. John, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Good. How are you feeling about the energy markets?
The egg market?
The energy market.
Oh, the energy market. I forget what you're going to be asking me. The egg market is very good, by the way. The energy market, we predicted right on this show 3-4 months ago, it's going to be between 55 and 65 in 2025. And everybody else tells about it later, but we tell you first. So in 2026, it's going to be even lower. That's when everything takes place as far as drill, baby, drill. So I believe, last week, crude oil hit almost 59. Now it's reacting to the marketplace, the turmoil going on in the marketplace. But I think the consumer is going to see at least a $1 a gallon cheaper oil, gasoline in the next 30, 60 days.
Well, since you want to talk about eggs, let's bring that up with you.
Why not?
Yeah, there you go. President Trump took to Truth Social. Here's what he wrote. The cost of almost all products going down, including gasoline, groceries, and just about everything else. So what are you seeing in your stores? I mean, are prices actually going down?
The prices are going down. They're either officially reducing the prices, or they're having more marketing dollars. Take your choice. Companies that are nervous about situations that don't know what's going to happen in the future, and there's a lot of nervous Nellies around. Increase marketing dollars so they can terminate marketing if they want to. But overall pricing is going down. Oil goes down. Food goes down, except Chairman Powell is not cooperating. He does not want the Fed to go down. He'd rather see failure in a Trump administration.
Do you want Trump to fire Powell?
I don't think it might create more turmoil. I'd like to see Powell say, I've had it, I quit.
Oh, okay. All right. David.
John, you know a good bit about energy and you know about pricing. President Trump came in immediately and looked to how do we start having more energy supply and how do we bring prices down? Does that ultimately do what we need to bring grocery prices down?
Ultimately, yes. If you have more manufacturing in the United States, the price of diesel fuel, because the food industry depends on diesel fuel, whether it's running the factories or warehouses or the transportation to retail facilities, it's all diesel. So as the price of diesel fuel goes down, the cost associated with the food prices goes down.
So, look, I mean, on this show, it's a business show. So
yes.
We're talking, energy prices. We're talking the stock market, the stuff that everyone can plainly see. But, in my opinion, the real story right now, the real issue we're facing as a result of this, disorderly tariff rollout is with Main Street business owners. Main Street business owners that I'm talking to regularly are in this wait-and-see holding pattern mode, which is causing them to not invest in growth initiatives, not buy that next piece of equipment, not hire that next employee, not give their current employees raises. And the longer we continue to go without getting some sort of a deal, the more damage that will be done. What do you make of what's going on Main Street?
You are telling the truth. Right now, I'm not going to buy a new business jet and pay 8% interest because we finance almost everything. And I'm going to wait for the interest rates to go down. And if they don't go down, then I'm not going to buy another jet. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to buy more equipment. I'm going to wait for it to suit down. Who wants to pay 8-9% for equipment? I mean, it's not going to happen. And that's Powell's strategy. He hates Trump. He hates Trump with a passion, and he's going to do whatever he can to damage. He should worry about America and not worry about hating Trump. And that's what it comes down to.
Interestingly enough, Powell last week, when he was talking, he mentioned that he's having conversations with CEOs on Main Street, and they're all telling him they're in trouble. So he has the real-time anecdotal data to be making the right decisions. He's instead going to wait until he's got rear-view mirror data 6 months from now.
Well, that's why President Trump is now calling him too late. That's his new nickname for Powell, and that's why. And he also says he was too late to cut interest rates initially. But, John, I want to ask you about what's going on here in New York. And this has to do with the Trump administration, because they're extending the deadline for New York to end the controversial congestion pricing tolls. They're giving him till May 21st. Transportation Secretary Duffy sent New York Governor Hochul a letter threatening to pull federal funding and future approval for construction projects here in New York if this continues. Here's what he wrote. The federal government sends billions to New York. We will not foot the bill if Governor Hochul continues to implement an illegal toll to backfill the budget of New York's failing transit system. John, your thoughts?
Well, at the end of the day, Governor Hochul has to realize President Trump is in charge. She refuses to realize that. And President Trump is trying to be as reasonable as possible. I thought they were starting to get together better, but she has to cooperate with the federal government. And she has to realize that. Tish James has to realize that she has to cooperate with the federal government. And there's a new boss in town, or whatever you want to call a new sheriff in town in Washington, and they have to cooperate with them. And I know that Maine is being cut off or whatever. I mean, do you want, if you want your daughters to be men going into your daughters' bathrooms?
Yeah.
No.
No.
I was going to say no.
Absolutely not.
Yeah. John, it's great to see you as always.
Well, thank you. And, the truth is paramount. And, in our show in WABC and your show on Fox, we tell the truth.
Yeah.
It's important.
That's why we love having you here.
Thank you.
It's always a pleasure. John Catsimatidis.